Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, we're jumping right in today because we have got a truly chaotic, absolutely cinematic manhwa story to unpack. It takes the whole concept of a survival test and literally turns it completely upside down. We're talking about a protagonist who is thrown headfirst into a reality that defies every single rule he has ever known. It forces him into this desperate, high-stakes game of self-improvement, literally just to survive. So if you're into character journeys packed with insane plot twists, wild psychological battles, and some seriously aggressive opponents, you are in the exact right place. Let's get into it. So, picture this. You're walking home after a stressful day at work. Suddenly, the sky turns this deep, terrifying crimson under a red moon, and you wake up in an alternate reality. That is exactly the nightmare our protagonist, Jang Ha, finds himself in. He wakes up, memories totally intact, but in a world where everything we know about gender roles is totally flipped. In this reality, men are physically smaller, biologically weaker, and expected to be submissive. And the women? They are taller, fiercely dominant, physically superior, and they are the ones aggressively pursuing the men.
You can imagine the culture shock, right? I mean, it hits him like a freight train. Back in his old life, Jang Ha was your standard everyday bro. You know, hanging out with friends, lifting weights, living a very traditional male lifestyle. Now, his dad is yelling at him to moisturize, his best friend Long Long is asking for makeup advice, and women on the street are straight up catcalling him. He's at a massive physical and social disadvantage, basically trapped in the body of a fragile pretty boy in a society that fully expects him to just sit down and be docile.
So how on earth does he get out of this? Well, the supernatural entity behind all this chaos, the Red Moon Goddess, actually pays him a visit, and she basically calls his bluff. She brings up all his old-world complaints about wanting to be a real man and gives him a divine mandate. It's simple, but brutal. If Jang Ha can prove himself as a true, dominant, undeniable Chad in this intensely matriarchal society, he just might earn his ticket back to his original Earth. But if he fails, there's no safety net. He'll be permanently assimilated. He'll lose his mental edge and become the exact kind of weak, submissive boy this new world expects. The clock is ticking, and his entire identity is on the line.
Now, instead of completely panicking, which, let's be honest, most of us would do, Jang Ha treats this terrifying new reality like a video game quest. He builds a strict mental checklist for leveling himself up. Step 1, he starts Muay Thai training immediately to offset his new biological weakness. Step 2, the closet makeover. He trashes the cute, pastel clothes his alternate self owned, gets a short, tough haircut, and buys a completely new wardrobe. Step 3, and this is absolutely crucial, he realizes that money is power, no matter what universe you're in. He needs financial independence fast. So he starts streaming video games and writing web novels based on old-world tropes to build up his bank account. And this highly structured approach, it leads to explosive growth online. Jang Ha uses his past life gaming skills, which are frankly way beyond the players in this new world, to completely dominate his matches. But the streaming platform managers quickly realize his real golden goose is his physique. He starts doing intense fitness streams while wearing a mask to hide his identity. And guys, this taps into a massive, untapped market of women who have literally never seen a man work out with such raw aggression. His viewer counts completely skyrocket. He is securing the bag and getting that independence he so desperately needs.
But of course, with fame comes danger. Enter Lu Xin. She's this tall, pink-haired street gangster who runs the local territory. She literally corners him in a dark alley, flashes a knife, and fully expects him to just cower and accept her as his new sugar mama. But remember that Muay Thai training he's been doing? Yeah, it pays off. Jang Ha actually fights her off. He hits her with pepper spray, cleanly disarms her, and holds her at knife point. In one brutal, adrenaline-pumping moment, he proves he is absolutely not the delicate little flower she thought he was. But as soon as he handles the street-level stuff, things escalate fast. He beats a thug only to catch the attention of Wei Nan. Now she is terrifying. We're talking a towering, impossibly wealthy media CEO, an ex-military soldier who literally does not understand the word no. She straight up kidnaps him, ties him to a bed in a room full of mirrors, and tries to force him into a contract to be her exclusive talent and her man. Jang Ha's willpower is pushed to its absolute limit here, constantly having to outmaneuver her incredibly overwhelming, aggressive advances.
And as if that wasn't enough, then we have Yua. She adds a totally different but equally chaotic flavor to his life. Yua is this quiet classmate from an insanely powerful political family. She's ridiculously wealthy, intensely lonely, and, oh yeah, a lethal martial arts expert trained by her soldier grandmother. Because she was bullied for her wealth as a kid, she completely isolated herself until Jang Ha showed her just a tiny bit of genuine kindness. Her love language?
She drags him into her mansion's private armory and offers him her favorite high-powered firearms as basically friendship bracelets. She's fiercely protective and dangerously attached.
So, just to summarize this wild Sigma male grind Jang Ha is on. He has to survive these overwhelmingly powerful women, and he does it using his brain just as much as his fists. He brilliantly blackmails the gangster Liu Xin with a hidden voice recorder to make her back off. He looks a billionaire CEO right in the eyes and refuses to be bought or intimidated. And his relentless martial arts training means he can physically throw school bullies into the dirt to protect his vulnerable best friend Long Long. He's literally playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, staying one step ahead of the chaos.
But here's the crazy part. While he's out there fighting off all these external threats, there's a massive, dramatic danger lurking right inside his own house. Let's talk about his ridiculously perfect stepsister, Kin Kin. She cooks for him, cares for him, and genuinely seems like the ultimate loving family member. But slowly, Jang Ha starts getting these fragmented, haunting memories from the original owner of his body. And these memories, they strongly suggest that Kin Kin's sweet, innocent vibe is absolutely not a coincidence.
The truth is actually terrifying. Years ago, a young Kin Kin was totally isolated and abandoned after her parents had this bitter divorce. The original Jang Ha was literally the only kid who befriended her. He became her entire world, her only anchor. But when an accident caused Jang Ha to lose his memory of her, Kin Kin's innocent affection just warped into a really dark obsession. Instead of moving on, she meticulously manipulated her own mother into marrying Jang Ha's father. All of this just so she could infiltrate his house, become his stepsister, and make absolutely sure he could never, ever leave her again. I mean, wow.
And all of this builds to just an incredibly tragic, emotional climax. CEO Wei Nan does some digging, uncovers Kin Kin's insane manipulation, and ruthlessly exposes it to everyone. We get this scene in the pouring rain. It's super dramatic. A completely broken, desperate Kin Kin confesses everything to Jang Ha. She's sobbing, admitting she orchestrated the entire family dynamic just because she was terrified of losing him. She wanted him all to herself. It's this intensely heartbreaking moment where Jang Ha realizes just how deep the madness around him actually goes.
Now, just when you think the earthly drama has peaked, the supernatural elements roar right back into the picture. The Red Moon Goddess decides it is time for her final climax trials. She plunges Jang Ha into a mind-bending series of time travel illusions. And these aren't just vivid dreams. They feel completely physically and emotionally real to him. Her goal isn't just to spook him. She wants to utterly break his resolve by throwing him into alternate realities where he is completely helpless, trying to force him to submit to the dominant women of this world.
The pacing of these trials is dizzying. In a split second, he's thrown years into the future. Suddenly, he's CEO Wei Nan's docile, stay-at-home husband, celebrating his birthday without any memory of when he gave up fighting. He manages to break out of that psychological trap, but then instantly flashes forward into another timeline. Here, an older, hardened Yua is a police officer, pulling him onto the back of her motorcycle. In all these timelines, the heroines get exactly what they want at his total expense. It's stretching his alpha mindset to its absolute breaking point.
But of course, the goddess saves the darkest, most twisted test for the very end. The final timeline jump drops him all the way back to primary school. He wakes up to find a young, utterly heartbroken Kin Kin holding a knife. Because this version of Jang Ha admitted he wasn't the original boy she fell in love with, she thinks her entire life's purpose is just gone. Talk about a gripping, urgent cliffhanger. Jang Ha realizes the goddess has engineered an impossible emotional paradox. To save his sister's life in the past, he has to solve a seemingly unsolvable problem.
Just as Kin Kin is about to give up entirely, we get a massive cinematic twist. Another hand reaches out from the darkness. It's the original soul of Jang Ha, the one who lived in the body before our protagonist took over. He surfaces from the void, having quietly watched this entire time. Recognizing the immense, world-shattering pain that Kin Kin is in, the original soul tells our protagonist that they have to work together. They have to team up to comfort her and break the goddess's illusion once and for all.
So, how exactly do they overcome this massive, traumatic psychological hurdle? Well, with an absolutely hilarious, full-on Dragon Ball-style fusion dance, of course. No, seriously, the original soul tells our protagonist they need to mirror everything perfectly. If one raises a left arm, the other raises a right. They mirror their movements, strike a pose, shout their shared desire to protect Kin Kin at the absolute top of their lungs, and boom! The two souls gloriously merge into one ultimate unified being. The
The sheer absurdity and raw, powerful emotion of this completely overloads the goddess's illusion, shattering it and snapping them back to reality.
That unbelievable act shatters the illusion for good. Fast forward 2 years later, and Zhang Ha didn't just survive the reversed world, he absolutely conquered it. He's tamed the chaos and is now living peacefully on a gorgeous private island. But he definitely hasn't lost his edge. He maintains that hard-earned alpha status by balancing his wild harem in total harmony. He's doing extreme daily survival training with CEO Wei Nan, practicing relentless hand-to-hand combat with Yua, and being lovingly cared for by Kin Kin. He proved his dominance without ever losing his humanity.
Which really brings us to our final takeaway to wrap up this explainer. Look, Zhang Ha looked around at his completely chaotic, ridiculously unfair circumstances, figured out exactly what he needed to do to survive, and took absolute responsibility for his choices. And by doing that, he mastered his reality. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Are you the protagonist of your own life? Are you ready to face your own everyday challenges with that kind of unyielding, cinematic determination? Give it some thought. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.